Hi everyone, this is Altair bringing you a brand new Monster Hunter World video. If you like the video, press the like button. If you have questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you want more builds and content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. So right off the bat, I usually make my videos in French language. English is not my first language, so please excuse me if there are mistakes or language errors in the video. I thought maybe the English speaking community wanted to have some cool builds, so I thought I'd give it a try and share this build with you in English. So I've named this build Triple B for Boom Boom Build because we're gonna do a lot of explosions. We're gonna use mostly the shelling capacity of the Gunlance. Why use shelling? Well, shelling does some fixed damage, meaning anywhere you hit the monster, you're gonna do the same amount of damage. You can hit the tail, you can hit the face, you can hit the legs, you can hit anywhere basically, and the amount of damage is gonna be the exact same. So you don't have to aim at all with this build. As long as you hit the monster, you're gonna do some damage. So this is really cool for monsters like Kushala Daora, Levasioth, or even Uragan that have very strong resistances to impact and cutting damage, and it's gonna allow you to lay back behind your shield, do some charged shells, and do a lot of damage. So first of all, let's check out the skills. We have 2 pieces of Diablos, which is gonna give you Diablos Mastery. This is not essential to the build. However, it's there because I chose 2 pieces of Diablo, so it's worth mentioning. So basically we have a little bit more attack since our sharpness is green, and the lower the sharpness, the more attack you get with that skill. Second skill is very important for Lancers and Gunlancers. It's Guard level 5, so you can lay back behind your shield and absorb a ton of damage without risking your life. The next skill is a little weird for a Gunlance build. It's Focus. Focus basically acts as something that's gonna make the time for charging your shells much lower. So it's essential to this build. You never see that kind of skill in a Gunlance build, but I've tested it and it really works. Your charged shells are gonna be really fast with this skill, so it's really important to have Focus level 3. Then we have Artillery. Very basic for a shelling build. We have 30% more damage on our shells, which is what we're going to use most of the time, and we also reduce the cooldown of Wyvern's Fire. Then we have Speed Sharpening. You know, Gunlances use a lot of sharpness, especially with shelling, so we're going to have Speed Sharpening, and we're going to add Protective Polish, which is the skill that gives you infinite sharpness for a minute after sharpening your weapon. So Speed Sharpening to sharpen really fast, and Protective Polish to be able to have that 1 minute window where your sharpness never decreases. So they really synergize really good together, those 2 skills. Then we have another skill that's Stamina Surge. It's not essential to the build, but I needed the slots on the Nergigante's armor to make the build. So this is just a bonus, 20% more stamina recovery. It helps. It's not essential, but it does help. Then we have Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye is really important because we have green sharpness on that weapon, and when you do a charge shelling, you have to poke the monster first. You cannot do a charge shelling right off the bat. You have to make a move first, any move, like a normal shell or a poke. I usually do a poke, so I keep all my shells for the charge shelling. So it's really important on that build to be able to poke, for example, an Uragan's jaw without bouncing on it. So crucial skill. Then we have Guard Up. Guard Up, it's very defensive build, so we're going to be able to defend against any attack of any monster with that Guard Up skill. So it's really handy to have that on the build. So it's very defensive build, and we're going to see that the damage of the charge shelling is really good as well. So let's look at the actual gear that I've chosen for this build. So this is Zora Magdaros's Gunlance. Why this Gunlance? We're going to do charge shelling, and it's a long type Gunlance, so we have a bonus multiplier on the charge shells. So it's really important, and it's also the only long Gunlance in the game that has a shelling level of 4. As a reminder, shelling does not take attack into account and does not crit, so we don't really give a damn about the minus 10% affinity or even the attack value, because the amount of damage we're going to do is only related to the shelling level. Be aware of not dropping below green sharpness, because if you have yellow sharpness, your shells are going to do a little bit less damage. That's why we have protective polish and speed sharpening to stay green all the time. So this is the only gun lance that's going to make this build work. So get that gun lance if you want to try that build. We also have a little bit of blast element that helps as well. It's about 120 damage every time it procs. So it's basically another charged shell for free on the poke sometimes. So Zora Magdaros for this gun lance. This is the only gun lance that's gonna make this build work. Then we have Diablos, Black Diablos Helm Beta, Nergigantes Armor Beta, Black Diablos Gloves Beta again. Then we have a Damascus Coil Beta, and we have Uragan Greaves Alpha for the armor composition. Then we have this Ironside Charm for the guard skill. Then I've put a health booster because we can stay behind our shield and have that, you know, that HP gauge go up. And then the Apothecary Mantle to help with the procs of the blast, because our weapon is a blast weapon. So if you have that mantle on, you're gonna proc the blast damage more often. You can pretty much choose whatever you want, but I thought this mantle was pretty cool, and it synergizes well with the build. Now let's take a quick look at the jewels. First we have in the helmet a Mind's Eye jewel. In the armor we have the sharp jewel for the protective polish. We also have 3 grinder jewels, one in the armor, one in the gloves, and one in the legs. Then on the Diablo Snare Braces we have that shield jewel for the guard boost skill. And on the Damascus Coil we have 3 artillery jewels to make sure we have that artillery skill maxed out. Really important for a shelling build. Now that we've looked at the gear and the jewels, I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of the build in the arena against Uragan and try and poke that jaw, see how it goes. So here we are in the arena. We're gonna try and jump on that Uragan, get the gun lance out, and then we poke and do a charge shell. You can see the charge shelling is really fast thanks to focus. It's really gonna help us. We have 3 shells in the magazine, so every time you unload 3 shells you have to reload, and basically you stay behind your shield, and whenever you get like a time window where you can do a charge shell, you just do it. And see, we already broke the jaw, because no matter where you're gonna hit, it's always gonna be 100 to 120 damage depending on the monster, and also depending on the quest defense multiplier. I've done up to 120 something damage with the shells. See here it's 109, which is pretty good. If you unload 3 shells, that's 300 damage. You can see sometimes the blast, the explosion from the blast proc, so it's another 120 damage. So it's chip damage, but it adds up really fast. And the thing is, with this build you're very defensive. See, as soon as the charge shelling is done, you can go back to the guard stance, and it's really quick. Most of the time you can unload 2 or even 3 shells and go back to your defensive position. See, really fast between the moment you unload the shell and the moment you go back. You unload, you're back in guard in a second, not even a second, like half a second. Here you have this little gap closer that's really cool, and you can do a charge shell after the gap closer. There are many ways you can do charge shells. I'll let you experiment, but please know that you cannot do a charge shell out of the blue. You always have to do something first. So I really like that poke from the guard position. So when you hold R2, you just press triangle, that's the poke, and then hold circle for the charge shelling. See here, we're gonna do 1, 2, then we can do a quick reload, 1, etc. Really easy to play, really safe if you're not too greedy on the charge shells, and the damage is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Sometimes when a monster is down, you can do 3 charged shells, then have a quick reload, again 3 charged shells, so that's 600 damage on a down monster. That's really good again. I'll let you experiment with that build. I think it's pretty fun to play, it's pretty safe, and it's also very useful against monsters, like I said, like Lavasioth or even Kushala, that have very small hit zones where you actually do a lot of damage. So that's pretty much it for the build. I hope you like this build. I hope you try it at home and have fun with it. Again, it's the first time I make a video in English, so please excuse any weird French accent or any language mistakes that I could have made in this video. If you like the build, please let me know so I can start doing more builds in English. If you don't like it and you think I completely suck, please tell me so I'll stop bothering you with my English videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for more builds. Bye bye.